Hello and welcome to another episode of the In Between Podcast. Let's go ahead and get this thing started. Hello and welcome to another episode of the In Between Podcast with your host, as always, Kyle McLemore. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for stopping by. We appreciate it here at the In Between Podcast to an extent that you have no idea, because you're the only thing keeping us going here, and we appreciate it. What's new with you guys? What's new with me? Well, the latest and greatest is probably the recent trip. Well, I don't know. What should we talk about? The recent trip to Las Vegas or the recent trip to Glen Helen Amphitheater? Let's start with the, which is the less interesting of the two? You wouldn't think, but probably Vegas? Because in terms of things you can do in Vegas, I probably do the minimum. I'd go to eat a bunch of cheap ass food, drink a bunch of cheap ass booze, and then gamble until I'm out of money. But to me, it's more like being able to play for a while rather than win a bunch. Winning a bunch only extends the amount of time I can play. I enjoy blackjack for sure. It's the only one that I can do relatively well at, or at least the only one that I can get my entertainment out of. I can last hours, or at least I have recently on the last few trips, starting at 7 or 8 on the evening and rocking it all the way to the break of dawn, with lots of dips and valleys in between, peaks and valleys. You go up a couple hundred, you come down a couple hundred, you go up a couple hundred, and then all of a sudden you're out of money. What was kind of a bummer on this one is that usually I can sit there all night long and just, sippy sip as the ladies are bringing the drinks. But on this trip, for whatever, it was more difficult than it should have been to get alcohol at the table. There were so many times when I was I ordered my drink and I'm going to be out of dough well before she gets back here. But it was fine, and leading into the trip, it was right on the cusp of Hilary. Hurricane Hilary was on the approach, and I think we got hit a tiny bit in Vegas before it crossed over, or maybe just the tail end of it was smacking Vegas a bit, but got the extremely rare rainfall in Vegas, which it must have been quite some time, and it didn't last forever, but it was definitely a good downpour for a minute. And when I tell you, that the blackest, most darkest, most absent light part of space had nothing on the dark blackness that was coming out of those gutters, dude. Think of the most, when you stare off into the abyss of the darkness of the universe, that was how dark this water was blasting out of the gutters. At first it was damn, look at all that oil coming out of the street. And then it's oh my God, I have never seen more filthy water, just an ocean flowing down the streets. Talk about much needed. The amount of sin that's just been washed away. The amount of stankiness. I mean, the amount of HIV flowing through that river. But man, it was the extremely rare thunderstorms in Vegas, which brought no luck change at all. But one goal of Vegas is to always get that Vegas hot diggity dog. And if you know, where is it? It's crazy to think that I've been going there for years and years. Gotta fight back to sneeze. Going there for years and years and still have no idea what casino that is. But there's a casino about halfway down the strip. You cut in, and in the very back is the cheapest foot-long hot dogs that are known to man. And I make it a point to get one every time because they delicious. They're delicious sober, but you want to throw in like me being annihilated on just like Paps or whatever, and those are the greatest hot dogs that have ever touched these lips. The next time I go, I would like to visit whatever it is. He's got like 74 different restaurants. Gordon Ramsay's got a real stranglehold on Vegas cuisine. But I know there's one. It's like the Bar and Grill or whatever. Burger Bar and Grill. BBG. But he's got a burger there that is probably the greatest burger I've ever had in my life. And one day I shall return. I think it's like at Caesars or something. But all in all, it wasn't too bad. Oh, and then made it back just in time to get all my supplies and get a bunch of sandbags and make a fortress around my house and boarded up the windows because Hilary's coming. Get a bunch of wood and up against the door and like seal everything. Tape the windows in case they shatter. That way it doesn't go everywhere. Got a whole bunch of cases of water and lots of dry food. And what are those ready-made meals? Ready-made meals? RMM? No, there's like a word. It's like the military little food bags or whatever. You just like, they're dehydrated or something. Got a bunch of those. My poncho, I was outside digging trenches for the water. Hurricane Hilary, show me what you got. Pretty mild, right? Pretty mild. I know that there are some areas. I think Palm Springs got rocked pretty good. LA got a little puddly. I think San Diego no longer exists. I think lots of the ocean cities kind of got a little wetter than usual. But as a whole, pretty mild, right? Like at least in my area, it was pretty chill. I imagine if you're in a place that's already prone to like the flash flooding, you probably got a little flash flooded. But like as a whole, not that bad. Like I feel like I've had worse storms. If anything, pretty mild where I'm at. I mean, can officially say I'm a hurricane survivor. Yeah, it's official. Survived a hurricane. First one. First ever hurricane. And I took it like a champ. I don't see what the big deal is. No, I'm kidding. Feel like, if anything, got extremely lucky. I mean, definitely could have been 1,000 times worse. I mean, who's more ill-prepared than California? I did see a lot of videos of, like, you know, old rivers getting fucking blasted or tons of debris finally being cleared out. Excuse me. Nothing like burping into the mic. It's the combination of Celsius and carbonated liquid death. Because, you know, I like the bubbles. But, yeah, Hilary came and went, and, you know, the storm comes, and I kept screaming, lock her up. Maybe that's why the storm didn't hit me so bad. As soon as I ran outside, as soon as it started drizzling, lock her up, show me the emails, Hilary. And the storm was like, ooh, I'm out of here. Not this again. No, it's like 2008 all over again. No. First Obama beats me and then Trump. Third time's a charm, Hilary. You still got some life in you. Yeah, but that was it. That was it for the storm of the century. But overall, came through it unscathed. No major injuries to speak of. The last major injury I had was self-inflicted. Oh man, I bonked my head so, it was like I was in a karate competition and I was trying to break a board with my forehead. That's how bad I slammed my head, that I not only had to sit there for a minute and be like, whoa, I'm like dazed, but also be like, oh, whoa, am I that dumb? Am I mentally deficient in some way this whole time and no one told me? Have I been needing a helmet just for day-to-day purposes and no one's told me up until now? I was going to sit to edit some videos or whatever, and going to sit. Let me see if I didn't do it. My chair was out, so I did that thing where it's you pull your chair in to sit down. So I, and then I got my desktop computer, so it's not the monitor part, but the square box part. It was right there. So I go to pull my chair in and sit down, and when I tell you that if it had been a karate board of wood, I would have split it like a black belt, dude. I no joke, was just hey, yeah, slammed my forehead so hard on that thing. I had a perfect bullseye on center third eye. My third eye was opening like Doctor Strange, dude. Just it opened up. This huge volcano on my forehead. And then so I had to be ooh, no, it's totally not acne, I swear. I'm just a moron who headbutted the hell out of a table for no reason. But man, I really bam! Now I had to sit there whoa. It's been a while since I've had major brain injury like that. Jeez, need a CTE test or whatever. Have somebody with a flashlight come and check out my senses. And then I also sat there for a minute oh, am I that dumb? But it's gone now. You can't see it anymore, but it was a welt for a solid couple of days there. No damage to the computer, which is good, because that would have hurt my feelings quite a lot. And as the August month continues on, football creeps closer and closer. I've been checking the schedule. Because I gotta start scouting SoFi Stadium. I gotta start scouting Gillette. I think our opening game is against the Raiders, but I think it's over in Colorado, which also one day I've got to make a point to visit. But Gillette is cool. I really like Gillette, dude. Gillette's awesome. It's hard not to like the Raiders when they're in Vegas, dude. It is just so cool. The next time I go to Vegas, I really want to get a Knights jersey. I just want to go to a Knights game in general, dude. They look like the sickest games. But, yeah, lots of football stuff. Lots of football stuff dropping content-wise. Hard Knocks with Aaron Rodgers is pretty good. I'm only starting to scratch it a little bit, but it's good, dude. I'm looking forward to seeing Rodgers on the Jets. Let's see if he can bust out of Brady. Brady can't be the only one in history, dude. Can't be the only one to just jump on a brand new team and just instantly be Super Bowl champs. Super Bowl champs. So if Rodgers goes and does it, dude, it'd be awesome. Be so cool. Tough challenge. But yeah, all this new content dropping. Hard Knocks. It's cool seeing all the Aaron Rodgers with all his different, and then they put it out. All his handshakes are dope, dude. That one when he was just ooh, and then they put it out on the other guy. I was fucking dope. But it's good. And then that other one, Netflix dropping them too, Johnny Football, which is one of the most entertaining things I've watched in a long time, dude. You want to talk about some major just spiral of self-destructive. It is just glorious to watch somebody. It is so fascinating to watch somebody just blast straight to the edge and beyond, dude. It's such a rare and fascinating human trait to be you always want to see somebody go to the edge and beyond, dude. That's some Hunter S. Thomas stuff where it's leaving Las Vegas, dude, Nick Cage in Leaving Las Vegas, where it's just I'm just going to go to Vegas and destroy myself and literally kill, I don't know if I can say that, and literally end myself in the form of booze and gambling and just like drugs and just like debauchery. Same thing with Johnny Football, where it's just like this glorious last ride that you know is not going to end well, but he's going to pedal to the metal all the way, dude. It is amazing. It's like this also fascinating combination of just like him being like super skilled and college, but also like that factor of like luck too. Like so many plays they show where it's like he gets smacked out and he like juggle, catches it, runs around, and like these insane plays that are like A, extremely talented, but also B, crazy luck, dude, combining to just like shoot Johnny Manziel into like the stratosphere of stardom. And then just slowly, like, crash back down to earth, dude, when he goes to the NFL. And it is just like a slow spiral down. But so many clips that are just like amazing of him just like partying. Or the best one, dude, is just like a quick little clip. He's got a fucking stack of hundies, dude. And he's just like, what? Huh? Oh, no, I'm sorry. I can't hear you. I got too much fucking money in my ear. It's just like, oh, dude, talk about like so sick to watch somebody just like do a straight Icarus, dude, just fucking blast straight to the sun, like, yeah, and they're just like, oh no, and just watch them just no, but in the most unbelievable, like, great entertaining way. Johnny Football, recommend it if you haven't been on Netflix lately, because it's good. Yeah, really good Johnny Football stuff. Lots of good football stuff in general. Netflix also dropping their new Painkiller. The whole Otzi. It's so funny that like my whole life I thought it was Otzi Cotton, like cotton. Like your shirt's made out of cotton, Oxycontin, but it's actually Oxycontin. Like there's an N in there, Oxycontin, so it's like Contin, Oxycontin, cotton. Anyway, the new Otzi show on Netflix is basically like a remake of the Otzi show on Hulu, which is just basically like, hey, look at how horrible this drug is, and look at how horrible these people are that just like manufactured and pushed it, and look at the horrible effects it had on humanity. Terrible, terrible, terrible. Isn't that interesting? And it's like, oh boy, it is. Oh boy, it is. The one on Hulu was really good. Michael Keaton shattered my heart into 1,000 pieces on that show, dude. Michael Keaton destroyed me on that show in a great way. Really shattered my heart the way that he just like, oh man, his arc on that show is unbelievable. And it's starting to trend the same way on this new Netflix one, Painkiller, starring Matthew Broderick. The sequel to Ferris Bueller. He grows up and invents Oxycontin. No. It's actually been a while since I've seen Matthew Broderick, except for whatever that Jennifer Lawrence movie. But he's great, and the show is also good as well. It's a little bit stylized. I think I'm leaning towards the Hulu one a little bit more, just because the Netflix one is a little bit more over stylized. It's still good. I can't quite put my finger on what it is. It's just like stylized, I feel like is the word. It's just like, I don't know. It's good. It's definitely good. They do this thing, dude, at the beginning of every episode that, like, starts the episode on such a, like, getting, like, stabbed in the heart 5 seconds into the episode immediately, dude. They do this thing where, like, it just opens up with some lady reading, like, the disclaimer, and she's like, yeah, some of these things have been changed or fictionalized. Some of the names have been changed, and some of the stuff has been dramatized for entertainment purposes. And she goes, but what's not fake is my son Jimbo. Jimbo died from Oxycontin on blah, 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 and it's just like, oh my, I'm getting, like, chills right now. It is so, like, what? Whoa. was not expecting a testimonial from an actual victim of this horrible drug. Speared me Leonidas style, 300 straight through the heart, with this mom talking about the passing of her child. Just straight up on the emotion stabbing, but still, really good show so far. So far, so good. Speaking of other new shows, because I saw a few movies, but didn't really have time to review, so can do it here. Can do 2 minutes review. Although they weren't really meh. Blue Beetle. I saw Blue Beetle. It's definitely blue. It was definitely blue. It was blue as hell. And beetly. No, I'm kidding. It was fine. It was okay. It was like good. It was good. It was good. It was acceptable. It was a fine start. It's like, okay, this is supposed to be... It's interesting because although I think originally it was supposed to be a part of the original DC cinema stuff that was going on, you know, Aquaman, Jason... No. What? Jason Momoa. Jason Momoa? Why am I blanking on this dude's name? It's Momoa for sure. Whatever. Aqua Momoa. Part of the Aqua Momoa, Henry Cavill, Ben Affleck. But I think it's like supposed to be starting on the new page of DC, like when James Gunn took over. And I think James Gunn was like, hey, this is okay. Although it was like connected to the old ones, it's disconnected enough to where it can be included in the new ones. So it's like, okay, all right, this is our fresh DC start. Here we go. Starting new. Forget about that last Flash movie, for the love of God. Forget about it. And let's focus on the future here. Blue Beetle, it was fine. It was a good start. That's what I mean by like, it was a good start. Like, definitely wasn't bad, but it definitely wasn't like, whoa. Like, I didn't get blown away by Blue Beetle. It was just like, this is fine. I was a little bit disappointed by Susan Sarandon. I love Susan Sarandon, and she was kind of just like, I don't know, stereotypical, kind of just bad guy, but no real motivation other than just like, I want the beetle. But why? I don't know. I just want it. What are you going to do with it? I don't know. Make a big evil army. All right. I guess. And then she's also just like pretty racist the whole time, which I mean just adds to her being a bad guy. But not even like a... They just make her like, I don't know, older white lady? Older white lady. She's just like... Keeps calling the guy Sanchez, but his name isn't Sanchez. I don't know. It felt meh. Also, the other bad guy, the other Red Beetle or whatever, I don't know what he's supposed to be, the red bad guy. He was also okay. Like, don't really get much info on him until like the last second of the movie, and then it's just like this huge flashback of just like, look how terrible his childhood and upbringing was, and you're just like, oh, okay. It was all right. It was fine. George Lopez was great in it. Everybody was great in it. Karate Kid, Blue Beetle was good. I don't know the girl's name. The main love interest was a goddamn flamethrower. When she came on screen, I was like, holy moly, dude, what is going on? Jeez, this girl is attractive. Like, in a way that's like, God, man, can't even look right now. Jesus. Put on a stupid hat or something to take the attractiveness down so I can actually look at you. Because you're so fucking gorgeous. It's like, it's like hurting my eyes a little bit. Jeez. But it was good. It was still really good. Did I even talk about... I thought I brought it up earlier, but I think I forgot. Did I even talk about Post Malone? I think I got distracted by Vegas and Hilary. But I saw Post Malone. I don't know if I brought that up. Saw Post Malosty Post at the Glen Helen Amphitheater. And I still don't know how I feel. Because on the one hand, it was a great show. On the one hand, it's a great venue. On the one hand, it's like a fun, cool place to see a show. And it was a good show. But on the other hand, though, getting out of that place is insane. Like, how has it been there for so long? How is it years and years and years of shows upon shows upon concerts upon shows, and every time it's the same? I haven't been there in a very long time. And all I remember is A, having fun, B, there being like fires up on the lawn, up on the hill, and C, wanting to I just wanted to end game Tony Stark, Peter Parker, Mr. Stark, I'm getting cold, and just turn into dust and just fade away, because getting out of that place is insane. Last time I went was for Kiss and Crew, Motley Crue, Kiss, which would explain all the fires on the hill, and like, of course it's like a pretty heavy rock show, so it's gonna be rough and rowdy. But that's the way it should be. Rough and rowdy's fun. Fire. So it's all good. And then going into this one, I was like, surely things have evolved. Surely, what a fool too. And then I even tried to power walk to my car like an idiot. And I was there too. I was like, yeah. First one out of my row, right into the traffic. And it's just like, boop. For the next 2 hours, I moved from here to here. I moved 3 car lanes in like 2 hours. Yeah, it was awesome. The show itself was good. First time seeing Post. I wouldn't even really call myself a big Post fan. I am now because he's awesome. I've always, I thought his music was fine. The one that I probably know the most is, I guess, the Spider-Man one. I also thought it was cool that he was in the TMNT movie, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, as like Ray Fillet or whatever. He was like the Stingray. It was awesome. And it's like he has really been popping lately, and it's like, no matter what I see, no matter what clip or content or news story I read, no matter what, it is just like more and more emphasizing how goddamn cool Post Malone is, dude. He's like the chillest, coolest, nicest, most, what's the word? Like, generous, but also, what's the word? Like, he just is so grateful and so like nice to everybody that he doesn't need to be, dude. Like, I've read all these stories about him like thanking like literally everybody on the crew, every grip and like roadie and like the driver and like anybody, dude. Like, just thanking everybody and being like super chill and nice to everybody. The vibe on that dude is insane, bro. Bottle that and sell it, because it's the most chill, cool, humanitarian vibe in the world, dude. To picture him being like angry or mad at somebody just doesn't even like compute. Like, it's not possible to imagine, because he's so goddamn chill and cool. And the show itself was great. It's really entertaining. I regret only not being closer, because it seems like the closer you got, the more you can just feed off that vibe. Now, one thing I will say is that I feel like I am getting in too late. I feel like by the time it hits me, it's too late. I should have gotten in years before. Now it's like, all right, well, of course, everybody knows now. And let me tell you a clue. The clue is me. I am the clue of when it's no longer like it's reached the peak of like, all right, it's no longer like underground cool. Now it's like mainstream cool, which is still cool, but not as cool as like the underground cool. And if I'm not being clear, it's because of this guy right here. When I went to the show, dude, the amount of middle-aged white guy was like way out of whack, dude. The amount of middle-aged white, that was like the majority was this guy, dude. The majority was like middle-aged white dude. Middle-aged suburban white dude. It was just like, oh. I feel like when the majority of the crowd is like me, it somehow is like, I don't know, a good watermark on like the cool level. Like it seems much less underground when it's like when it finally hits me, when I'm like, hey, what's up with this Post Malone guy? Then it's like, yeah, that was cool so long ago. You're just now getting in? Like, what the? And then, dude, I try like the conversations around me, dude, like, okay, so I'm so conflicted because on the one hand, I completely agree with what the dude was saying, but on the other hand, don't say that. Don't say that. Like, on the one, like, this guy next to me was just like, because Post, he does this thing where he'll just, like, start doing, like, these weird dances, and it's fucking dope. It's really cool. It's really, really cool. You know what's not cool? Like, it's what I'm doing right now. It's commenting on it. Like, this dude in the crowd next to me, just like to point it out and be like, oh, I love when he does those little dances. It's just so random and cool. And I'm just like, ugh, dude. The commentary of this average white guy is killing the vibe, dude. It's like, yeah, bro, we know it's cool. You don't have to point it out. Does that make sense? Is it just me? I think I'm projecting my own like insecurities all on this one dude, but I don't know. It just was like a vibe of just like me walking in the show like, huh. A lot of average-looking white dudes and a lot of average-looking white girls. Like, what is going on? I mean, I guess I just didn't expect that level of Caucasian, which is, like, fine, I guess. But it's just like, I don't know. When there's that much Caucasian, like, how can it be that cool? Is it fucked for me to say that? Like, I don't know. I feel like I'm making this narrative up as I go along, but I don't know. That was just the vibe. But oh, man, and then getting out of that place, it's so gnarly that it's like I don't know, dude, if I'll go back, because it's like it's so conflicting. Because like it's like a good venue, dude. It's a good venue. It's a chill vibe. But just the in and out of that place is like ridiculous. I'm starting to think that like paying the extra 100 plus for the VIP parking is probably worth it. If you're able to get out of that place in like 45 minutes, it might be worth it. Man, I had work the next, dude, it was like 2 a.m. before the line even started moving, dude. I'm talking like 2 solid hours of just sitting. You know how frustrating it is to sit in a line of cars and then like up ahead you can see other cars just going and you're just like 2 hours of like, why isn't my line moving? Dude, it is quite frustrating. But that show was good. The show was good. I wish I'd been closer because the show was good. I don't know. We talked about a lot of stuff. There was other stuff I wanted to talk about. But I might have to save it. We'll save it for the next one. Thank you so much for tuning in to the podcast. It's much appreciated. If you haven't already, hit that like and subscribe, man. It's much appreciated. You know, there's not a lot helping the channel other than your support, so it helps out a lot, and it means the world. I am your host, as always, Kyle McLemore, and we'll see you next time on the pod.